inside the lawyer's office is cold enough to sharpen grief into something almost surgical. You sit on the edge of the stiff leather chair, legs crossed, hands clasped tightly in your lap. The mahogany table in front of you gleams under the dull lights, but everything feels dull since your father died. Even the smell of fresh coffee in the corner can't mask the sterile weight of death. Your stepmother dabs her eyes with a silk handkerchief, although you're not sure if she's crying over the man or the money. She's in her pearls and pastel channel, dressed more for a brunch than bereavement. Across the table, the family lawyer, Mr. Kung, shuffles through the papers with mechanical precision, his gold-rimmed glasses slipping slightly down his nose. You inhale slowly as he begins. The last will and testament of Chairman Yoon Sung-min, amended 5 weeks before his passing, he states, tone detached. You straighten slightly. 5 weeks, that was during his final hospital stay. To my only daughter Wyan, his voice carries through the heavy silence. I leave all personal effects including family heirlooms and artwork. However, the primary estate including the company shares, real property and assets shall be equally divided between Wyan and he pauses, flipping to the second page. John Jungkook. The room stops breathing. Your fingers go numb. You blink. I'm sorry. Who? Your stepmother turns sharply, her face blanching. What is the meaning of this? Mr. Kung clears his throat. John Jungkook, the legal documentation has been verified. Your father acknowledged him as his biological son in a signed addendum. Biological son? You nearly laugh. That's impossible. My father never had a son. Apparently he did, a deep voice says from the doorway. You turn your head and see him, John Jungkook. He steps in like he owns the space, clad in a fitted black suit that matches the storm in his eyes. Sharp jaw, perfectly combed hair, but it's the coldness in his gaze that slices cleanest. He nods toward the lawyer. Sorry, I'm late. Traffic. You stare at him stunned. You're John Jungkook? He glances at you unmoved, and you must be the daughter. You stand, heat rushing up your neck. This has to be a mistake. My father would have told me if... Apparently he wouldn't, Jungkook says evenly. The way he speaks, so calm and precise, only fuels your anger. You don't even know him. He's not family. He's not anything. Mr. Kung clears his throat again. Mr. John has already been verified through documentation and blood work. Chairman Yoon submitted everything himself. I have copies if you would like to see them. You sit back down slowly, heart pounding against your ribs. This isn't just grief anymore, it's betrayal, confusion and something else you can't name. Jungkook takes the chair across from you, one arm resting on the table like he has every right to be here. You don't know whether to scream or laugh. So, he says, voice low, almost amused. Guess we are family. You look him dead in the eye. I don't know who you are, but you're not my brother. Mr. Kung sighs heavily and slides a thick envelope toward you both. I suggest you review the documents in private. Per the will, the estate is now co-owned, including the main residence. You feel the ground shift under your feet. Jungkook raises an eyebrow. You live there now? You nod, lips pressed thin. I grew up there. Well, he says, standing up and adjusting his watch. I guess I'll be moving in. You shoot to your feet, over my dead body. Noted, he says with a smirk, already turning toward the door. See you soon, sis. You stare after him, chest burning. If this is family, you already want out. Time skip. The sound of the doorbell splits through the quiet like a bullet. You glance up from the living room, hand tightening around your coffee mug. The mansion feels emptier than ever without your father's presence. Every creak of the old floors reminding you of how big silence can be. It's been 3 days since the will reading. 3 days of trying to make sense of John Jungkook, a man who walked in from nowhere and claimed half of your life with a few sheets of paper. The doorbell rings again. You set the mug down and cross the marble foyer, your bare feet nearly silent against the cold tile. When you pull open the door, he's there. Duffel bag slung over one shoulder, black coat draped over the other arm. You don't speak. He raises an eyebrow. Not exactly a warm welcome. You didn't call. Didn't know I needed to. I own half this place, remember? Your jaw tightens. You don't own anything. My father built this house. He raised me here. You're just a late entry in a very messed up story. He steps in past you without permission, his polished shoes echoing against the marble. Nice place, he murmurs, eyes scanning the grand staircase and chandelier. Very inherited. You shut the door behind him a little harder than necessary. You're sleeping in the east wing, you say, leading him toward the guest quarters. It has a separate entrance. Please use it. Noted. He says casually, his tone infuriatingly calm. Do I get a house tour or is this a self-guided experience? You stop walking and face him. This isn't a vacation. He meets your gaze head on, his eyes darker than before. And this isn't my choice either. You think I asked for this? I don't even know he existed until 2 months ago. Your breath catches. What? My mother was dying, he says, voice lower now. She told me everything on her hospital bed, said she never wanted to ruin his family. But she sent a letter years ago. Apparently, he ignored it. You stare at him, heart tripping over itself. So you showed up after she died? For revenge? For money? I showed up because I wanted to meet the man, Jungkook says, stepping closer. But he was already dead. Your throat tightens. Why didn't he tell me? You whisper, more to yourself than to him. Maybe he was ashamed, Jungkook says, or maybe he thought you wouldn't forgive him. You both fall silent. The air feels too heavy for words. Somewhere in the background, the grandfather clock ticks like a countdown you didn't know had started. He breaks the silence first. You think I'm here to steal something from you, he says. But maybe I'm just here to find out why he left me nothing but his name. You fold your arms, holding yourself together. And what do you want from me? Nothing, he says simply. But since we are stuck in this, might as well learn how to breathe the same air. You hate how grounded he sounds, like he's not the invader but the mirror of a man you thought you understood. Dinner's at 7, you say stiffly, don't be late. He turns away heading down the east hallway. Wouldn't dream of it, sister. You flinch at the word, even if something in your gut already doubts its truth. You watch his back disappear down the corridor, and for the first time in days you realize something. This isn't just about loss anymore, it's about everything your father never said, about the man who just walked in carrying all of it on his shoulders. Time skip. The attic is still and thick with dust. The air heavy with the scent of old wood and forgotten years. Rain taps steadily on the rooftop above, a steady rhythmic beat that sounds almost like a clock ticking down to something inevitable. You sit cross-legged in the middle of the mess, surrounded by open boxes and faded photos, your fingers sifting through time you never meant to revisit. You have a habit of digging into trouble, don't you? You flinch slightly at the sound of his voice. Jungkook leans in the doorway, half-shadowed, sleeves rolled to his forearms, a faint smirk tugging at his lips, but it doesn't quite reach his eyes. And you have a habit of sneaking up on people. You shoot back. Can't help it, you make it easy. Your eyes meet, a beat of silence. I couldn't sleep, you say more to the box than to him. This house, it's full of ghosts. He steps inside, carefully ducking under a beam, his gaze trailing over the attic like he's walking through someone else's memories, or full of people who left too much unsaid. He crouches beside you, close enough that your knees almost touch. His warmth is disarming. You pull a dusty box toward you before he can, but he notices the label that says Yoon, as in your father. You nod slowly. It's private. Then why open it? Because I need to know if he was lying to both of us. You open the box, letters, photographs, documents. A yellowed envelope catches your eye, the handwriting delicate, the paper fragile. That's my mother's, Jungkook says, voice quieter now. You glance at him. His features are softened by the light filtering through the attic window. The edge you first saw in him is still there, but there's a vulnerability now too. Something wounded and unsure. You hand him the letter, your fingers brush. Too brief, too electric. He reads aloud, his voice uneven. Sungmin, I never expected you to leave your life for me. I only hoped you would acknowledge him. Our son deserves more than silence. If you choose to forget me, so be it. But please don't forget him. When he finishes, the attic feels smaller, tighter. The kind of silence that crushes the breath out of you. He knew, Jungkook mutters. He got this and he still did nothing. You exhale slowly, watching the dust in the light. Maybe he thought it was the only way to protect what he already had. Maybe he was selfish or scared. Jungkook lifts his gaze to you, direct, unreadable. Are you defending him? You pause. No, I don't want to hate him. Not if he died believing he did something right. Another silence, but this one feels different. Not angry, just heavy. You turn to grab another paper when Jungkook suddenly speaks again. Can I ask you something? If I say no, will it stop you? He smirks faintly, not a chance. You meet his eyes waiting. When I first walked in, did you hate me because I might be your brother or because something about me made it hard to breathe? Your heart skips. That's a stupid question, you say too quickly. Then why aren't you answering it? You stare at him, really stare. There's a pull between you, thick, dangerous, and yet you don't move away. Neither does he. I hated you, you whisper, because you felt like someone I should have known all along. The words in the air, raw and real. He shifts closer just slightly. Your knees touch now. If this letter's the only thing he left us, it's not enough, he says. Then we get answers, the right ones. You pull a folder from the bottom of the box, legal, stamped. Paternity verification incomplete, consent required. There's no proof, you say, holding it between you both. Jungkook nods, which means everything could be a lie. You look at him. Not your brother, not yet, maybe not ever. Just a man with stormy eyes and a past that tangled too tightly into yours. We need a test. Yeah, he says, we do. But neither of you move just yet, because for a moment the idea that you might not be tied by blood opens a door you both weren't ready to admit you wanted to walk through. Time skip. You hadn't planned to ride in the same car as him, but when the test was booked under both your names and the hospital sent only one appointment slot, things stopped being tidy. Now you sit beside Jungkook in silence, the low hum of the engine and the sound of rain against the windshield filling the space between you. The scent of leather and faint cologne floats in the air, too intimate for two people trying to define the distance between them. You are quiet, he says without looking at you. What do you want me to say? Good luck, maybe we are siblings, or maybe not. You turn your head slowly. What if we are? You ask. Jungkook exhales. Then I walk away, that's it. You look out the window, jaw tight, just like that. It's the only line I won't cross. The hospital isn't far, but the drive feels long. When you arrive, the fluorescent lights and the antiseptic air welcome you like an accusation. The nurse explains the procedure, simple swabs, fast results in 24 hours. You don't speak much during it, but when the test is done and you walk out together into the cold afternoon air, something shifts. The ride back is quieter, more fragile. Time skip. That night you find him in the kitchen. He's leaning against the counter, a glass of water in one hand, sleeves rolled up, hair mussed like he's been running fingers through it for hours. Didn't think you would be up, you say. Didn't think I would be able to sleep. You hesitate at the doorway, but something about the way he looks, not cold, not guarded, makes you step inside. Do you want to talk about it? Do you? You walk over and sit across from him at the kitchen island. I keep thinking, you start slowly, how different my life would have been if I had known. If he had told me about you, I wouldn't have hated you when you walked in. I wouldn't have felt replaced. Jungkook nods, tracing the rim of his glass with one finger. I used to think I was missing something, like a puzzle piece I never saw. I blamed my mom, but now I think maybe he really was the one who ran. You look at him. Do you hate him? Some days, but mostly I just wonder who I could have been if he showed up. The silence that follows is not heavy, it's thick with understanding. You stand and move to put your mug in the sink. As you do, his voice stops you. If we are not siblings, you turn slowly. He's looking at you like the question already lives on his tongue. Then what does this mean? He asks. This tension, this thing between us. You swallow hard. I don't know. He steps closer, the space shrinking with every quiet breath. Because I look at you and nothing about it feels wrong. It should, but it doesn't. You want to speak, but his eyes, searching and bare, say everything you've been trying to ignore. We don't know yet, you say. We can't. I'm not asking for anything, he says softly. Just the truth. His hand brushes yours briefly as he walks past. You stand still, staring at the place where he just stood. The truth will come tomorrow, and it could either break the chain between you or set you both free. Time skip. The envelope sits on the kitchen counter untouched, white, crisp, silent, like it doesn't know it holds the weight of your world. Jungkook stands on the other side of the room, arms crossed, tense as stone. His jaw is clenched, but his eyes are alive with something you can't name, not yet. Are you going to open it? He asks, voice low, steady. You don't answer because once you open it, there's no going back. You reach for the envelope, your fingers trembling just slightly. Rip, unfold, read. The silence stretches like a held breath. No match. 2 words, that's all. You look up at him, heart thudding like it's waking up for the first time in weeks. You're not my brother, you whisper. Jungkook doesn't move, but the air in the room shifts like gravity just changed. So he lied, he says quietly. Or maybe he just wanted to believe something that made his past right. You nod. Either way, it's not the truth. He walks closer now, slow steps across the wooden floor until he's standing directly in front of you. Then, what's stopping us? He asks. Your breath catches. From what? From this, he says, voice barely above a whisper. Whatever this is. You know what he means. You've felt it since the moment he walked into the lawyer's office. This pull, this friction that burned and smoldered even when you hated him, especially when you hated him. We barely know each other, you say, though your voice lacks conviction. So let's fix that. You hold his gaze. You came here for your past and found my future. The words leave him so easily it steals your breath. Your hands find each other halfway, fingers lacing like they were meant to all along. His thumb brushes the back of your hand, gentle grounding. We are not broken pieces of someone else's story anymore, he says. We get to write our own. You swallow hard, tears threatening to blur the moment. Are you sure? He leans in so close you feel the warmth of his breath as he whispers, I've never been more sure of anything. And when he kisses you, it's not reckless, it's forbidden. It's slow, deep, real, like two people choosing to begin not in spite of the mess, but because of it.